I was really dealing with negative thoughts, like about myself.
There's comments that people say about like black girls, how they dress, like how they look.
People around me told me like, oh, you need to change this if you want to fit in.
Being a hater is not, it's not it, it's not it.
I used to be super insecure with everything, like how I looked, how I presented myself. I'm homeschooled, and whenever I walk by a group of kids and you see them having all the trendy stuff, they're all like laughing and they look like they're super popular.
Head, knees, shoulders.
I get like inside my head and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're judging me so much right now.
I think I definitely relate to that. I'm in my head like a lot. I was like self-conscious about how I looked, especially since I moved from Nigeria to here in elementary school. So like going from like an all black society to like somewhere where it was like predominantly white and like getting bullied for that as well. I started feeling really insecure in my skin and like uncomfortable with who I was.
Toes, knees, head, shoe.
I've just always been known as the Jesus girl. Like, oh, she's too Jesus-y, like she'll never do that, she's too Jesus-y, which is not a bad thing, but also it's like, people would just often like leave me out of things, conversations. They would be like, oh, you can't hear about this, or oh, I can't talk to you about this because it's too bad for you. I had a friend, like she was my best friend, kind of toxic, but we decided we wanted to start a Christian TikTok page. And I just like poured my heart out to it. And she looked at it and she's like, that's not gonna get a lot of views. Maybe I should just do it alone. And then
Wow.
she ended up blowing up on TikTok. Whenever I went to her house, she would film the videos and I would just be in the corner like, could have been me.
For me as well, like I was surrounded by the wrong people, and so they fed into those insecurities. I would always try to like share my faith with people, but like people in middle school were just really mean, and like people would always, yeah, people were like really rude, and they would be like stop trying to convert me. Like they would always think that I was like forcing my religion on them when I was just like trying to tell them about Jesus. And so because of that, I actually lost like a lot of friends, and in 6th grade I was like so lonely. For a while I just kind of like stopped talking about Christianity and like stopped talking about my faith, and my faith started like, it wasn't as strong and sound as it was before either, because I was like, if this is causing me to like lose so many people, then like maybe I should just stop, which isn't right.
The exclusion hurt a lot. Everyone's going to this party, everyone's going to that party, and not going to the parties, not doing what they're doing and feeling secure. God just reminds me like, you are called to be different. You are called to stand out. You are called to not conform to the patterns of the world. Like you are made to represent the light that is Christ.
Just knowing the word, like knowing scripture is really important, because whenever those like thoughts come up, when you have scripture to counter it, it really just, it helps a lot with your peace of mind and like your mental state. I think God's been helping me in that area, just like being more comfortable with who I am and who He's made me to be.
Knees, head, shoe.
It's helped me so much to understand that I am beautiful and I'm God's creation. I'm made in His image. He's made me this way for a reason, and accepting and loving myself, so.
I feel like we always try to pick apart the bad things about ourselves, and we never really focus on the good things. And I feel like in Jesus' eyes, that's all He sees. Especially on the days where I don't feel like as worthy or as valuable or whatever, like because social media or something. I just always think back to like God saying like, you are my daughter, like you are my child. And that title alone like is enough and should be enough.
That we can hear your word and that you remove any anxiety and nerves from Ellie as she preaches tonight.
I love that God like searches the heart, and He doesn't look at like the physical. And it reminds me of like the story in like the Bible about David. I think it was Samuel. He gets like appoint someone as a king.
We turn to 1 Samuel 16,
And so he was like looking at all of like the sons, and he was like, oh, like, God, is it this one? And like he's like looking at these sons that look strong and they look like the perfect image of a king. But God is like, no, like, I don't look at that. Like, I'm not looking at the outward appearance, but I'm looking at the heart. And he chose David, who wasn't even with them to begin with. He was just like this little boy, and God used him to like defeat a whole giant.
He had no armor, no weapons. He was just a little shepherd boy.
He was like short, like he wasn't qualified. He was short. He wasn't qualified.
Short king. Literally.
Yeah, exactly. He just wasn't like what you would imagine. Yeah, the height was just no. So I mean, when I just think of stories like that, like God can use people like David to defeat giants. Like, why can't He use me to like accomplish my dreams as well? I think a lot of people just like disqualify themselves. They just feel like God can't love them, or like they've done too much. That's like they've sinned too much or something. They've fallen too far away from God and they can't be saved, which is so far from the truth. God is so welcoming and He wants us to come to Him, but sometimes we're just too like, I think it's just shame. Like, we just feel too much shame, but that's why Jesus died on the cross for us.
Recently, I've like become closer with God, and I see people through how they act to other people, and I feel like that's true beauty. Whenever I like overthink a situation, like, oh, am I good enough to like hang out with these people, or like, oh, I need to put all this makeup on, I need to wear certain clothes, I need to do my hair a certain way, I always go back to gratitude. We always keep like looking for more things, like, oh, this trend, if I want to hang out with this group, I've got to buy this stuff, and having gratitude for the things we have and not searching for anything else other than God, because He's always going to be there. He's not a trend. He doesn't come and go. He's always there for us. Once you do that, you will not have insecurity anymore because you're secure with yourself.
I agree with that. I feel like when I started like growing my relationship with Christ, I became more like loving and understanding. Yeah, I definitely used to be like, oh, like the cool kids, like, oh, like I want to be like friends with them. Like, how do I like impress them? But like now, like growing my relationship with God, I feel like I'm seeing them like, oh, they're just like people. Like, how can I be friends with them? Yeah, but not looking to be cool. Like, I feel like my intentions have like changed a lot, like in my friendships.
Viewing them as a human being and like, wow, this person has struggles. This person like goes through things just like I go through things. You see those videos of like someone zooming out on the entire universe, and it's like, we are so small compared to everything that's happening in the entire galaxy. I'm thinking of, oh, what are they thinking about me? She's thinking about, what are they thinking about me? He's thinking about, what are they thinking about me? Nobody's thinking about you.
Yeah.
Like, we're selfish. We're just selfish by nature. Everybody's thinking about themselves.
Exactly.
And stepping out of that line and being like, okay, how's this person really doing?
And if you are judging people, like, I think it's a sign of insecurity, because we're all human. We all have flaws, obviously, but it's more about what's on the inside.
This is for all you short people out there.
Short kings.
Short kings.
Short kings and queens.